28. In early March of 2024, Gaza's nightmare plunges, without hope, into months more escalating suffering and death. Both combatants invite Israel's invasion of Rafah, while 1.5 million crowded in for safety cannot escape impending bombs and bullets. Months more rapidly fatal siege is actually desired by both ambitious, insane, evil war opponent leaders whose military objectives will be furthered by rocketing Palestinian dehydration and starvation, as I will explain in a minute. Not one of 2024's 49 wars, in addition to shooting and bombing many hundreds of thousands to death and maiming that many more for life, does not destroy homes, economies, and food and water life support of mostly the losing invaded side. Your first year of multiplying activists will stop perhaps a fraction of humanity's horror, unless you must also avert a billion times worse nuclear holocaust. Ignite your love rockets second and third stages later to stop virtually all war. War is hate, greed, weapons, and present anarchy opportunities that only you can and must all stop with law. Love education, peace law, and disarmament I never stop detailing will take us to the promised land. I promise. Yeah. Today, hear the results of the greed, hate, and weapons that American, Israeli, and Hamas leadership are determined to ever worsen, to inspire your public intervention to end war suffering, that my true horror storytelling makes real in your compassionate mind and heart. What would you say if I suggested that you should wish hard for mercy, just as you would if your own children were mortally attacked? Wishy-fishy, you'd scream. I'd act, I'd fight to rescue my loved ones. Damn right you would. As now you also must, across the world, to save the human family that you have finally learned to love and protect too. Acutely aware that humanity's destruction soon roars into your household, dead unless you, never wholly bought crippled non-leaders, end public murder, boom rescue, find water, save trees, scrub air, and water crops. Where are hate, greed, and weapons headed in the Middle East? Until you and I stop with laws and schools, all three. 20 Gaza children, after 5 months' siege, were reported dead of dehydration and starvation, as 2 million homeless under tents have long since failed to get most desperately wounded, ill, or starving to hospitals, not 5% left in existence. Most of these thousands increasingly founder, die, and are privately buried with zero public report under blasted to bits concrete thousands of times more plentiful than grass over dirt. Both Israel and Hamas are determined not to increase aid truck number above the 100 calculated to deliver 300 of everyone's 1,500 calorie survival requirement. This proven by their design to fail ceasefire negotiations. Israel is determined to kill or capture every Hamas fighter. Hamas spent years tunneling ultimate defense critical after their kibbutz slaughter invited massive Israeli invasion. Their goal now is survival to launch more Jewish murder fests, sabotage of their own subjects, achievement of Palestinian independent statehood unimportant compared to their permanent terror power over all. Just so their Iran-supplied army ever grows to someday slaughter or drive every Jew into the sea. The imminent Iranian hydrogen bomb will no doubt be smuggled into Tel Aviv. The answer, the only solution, survival, peace, justice, and future possible occurs to almost no one on earth. Demilitarized, business uncorrupted nations defending themselves and all others with love, equality, value not hatred of religious, racial, and national diversity, respect, understanding, and collaboration, education in constant world student, citizen, and leader contact. So until you, not I, teach us all, Israel only desperately schemes how they must shoot their way through every foot of 500 miles of tunnels, hiding a few thousand Hamas fighters pointing Uzis around corners. 50-1 invader casualties. Hamas planned this war for decades. The defenders stonewall all 6-week ceasefire offers, refusing to give up their last 50 dying hostage leverage for merely their deaths to the last man. Their achievement of permanent ceasefire with their core cadres alive can only be won with 20,000 of their own citizens starved to death. World rage forcing America and Israel to stop the murder and feed the survivors. Only tragedy on this scale to maybe cause world demand to matter at all, as it never has before, could possibly prevent the three totally sick war parties, America, Israel, and Hamas, from their next year of planned-for-profit Holocaust. Endless civilian slaughter, suffering, and ruination for decades ahead is the stone-cold plan of Hamas for permanent Iranian terror power and money flow. Of Israel for equally weaponeer-fed all 21st century military dictatorship, and crushed enragement and fight back from Hamas and other provoked warriors, and America's 250th war exploded theater for profit. No leader is independently that evil. But billionaire weapons makers won't fund their campaigns for anything else but treasury handover and world murder unceasingly sold and resupplied. All high courts allow this in corrupt, lying deference to the argument that campaign contributions are merely First Amendment free speech rights with money, just like words. Money that only the 1% richest buy for robbery and murder. Equal, benevolent, harmless donation rights, constitutions give us all. Right? Wrong. Pack those courts, kiddies. Shrink winner pigs to losers. My nation's strategy, hammered by a man dramatically kind in every other political arena not ruled by his massive weaponeer campaign cash, especially sickens me. 5 months of loud presidential lectures about sparing civilians will be ignored. Years more, he knows, then continues to send every bomb, violating American law banning any weapons sent to war parties who withhold their victims' life-saving aid. Many international laws against deliberate, never accidental civilian genocide, the American and Israeli war leaders also spit on, calling unnecessary bestial savagery the total aggressor's sacred right of self-defense. No attacker is ashamed that obvious contempt of such defense, easily preventing the Hamas original attack, instead invited it. The mighty bomber, for white-hot dangerous years, had neglected to station even a handful of IDF soldiers on the Gaza border, even during a full year of reviewing videos showing large Hamas attack training camps 100 yards inside the border. In sum, permanent military slaughter and siege of Palestinians, hopefully never to stop, is the actual objective of every Hamas, Israeli, and American civilian over military leader. 100% coerced by their endlessly supplying, profiting, bribing weaponeer masters. You never believed this before I proved it. Why not? Because all combatants use Major Death Incorporated cash to shout PR lies 25,000 miles around, concern and care for their worthy, virtuous favorites to attack for and defend. Marvelous love, protection, national justice, and destiny for their good guys, privileged to offer up their own children and major numbers of adults to be slaughtered or starved for the holy cause. Tell me that you haven't lived much of your life brainwashed by this clever, heroic garbage. These glorious, trumpeted goals of triumph of all good people, only achieved by full military and civilian wipeout of the evil, subhuman enemy, dominate world media, deliberately, cleverly crafted to neuter 100% of our horror and fury, certain from simply hearing the truth of crimes and motives. To make sure that we'll never imagine, conceive of, consider, and go to bat for the only difficult, massively challenging peace law's solution. I know. Why don't I just stop hemming and hawing and tell you what I really think? Either you confiscate most of World War's annual $2.3 trillion to spend instead on ocean steam, flood, and rain collection and world delivery, or you, your kids, and even fairly old parents will parch and starve pretty damn quick. Zimbabwe's lakes are plunging so fast that their 75% of national hydroelectric grid is on summer of 2023 6-hour rolling blackouts. I'm afraid by the time you hear these speeches, many nations, including China already into these crises, will be running ever lower on lake-fed municipal water and similarly disabled hydroelectric power. Ask your smartphone how low your rivers and lakes are getting. If you have not driven over to see for yourself, the few years they took to half empty project only worse drought, faster descent to dry. Obviously. That's why I demand that you soon force new supply to stay alive. No jive. I give you past, present, and future reasons for your swords into plowshares, lawsuits, treaty, and politician supervision. Make our courts decide that war is grossly excessive weaponry that our founders outlawed from the beginning. We complainants must now win from our courts, legislatures, executives, and our old and new disarmament treaties the necessary peace laws that I have detailed. In fact, leadership alteration in existential crises that Thomas Jefferson, in our Declaration of Independence from both foreign and someday domestic despots, required of and delegated to, guess which responsible citizen in charge of self-government? Only you. Every you. Even after we succeed in banning all private gifts to politicians and candidates, the weapons companies, until we also outlaw the private-public job revolving door, will continue sending their men to huge war-power jobs to keep delivering your money to their lifetime death-incorporated bosses. Exactly as did President Harry Truman's weaponeer cabinet in 1947 with their National Security Council Memorandum 68. To destroy weaponeer bankrupting demobilization, this rearmament scheme directed a massive PR lying, executive and legislative action conspiracy to hammer and fund massive world arms racing, enemy and war making, then public propaganda fear mongering to keep forever emptying the American treasury to every crony and power monger to stay surfing entire careers atop their death dealer masters' profits. But hey, what can one little memo among 500 million do? Only end the world. You'll recall my report of their world conventional and nuclear skyrocket to hot, not Cold War achievement of Vietnam murder of civilian millions, then barely averting Cuban Missile Crisis doomsday, while removing for such pointless deadly horror 78 cents of every single American tax dollar by 1963. And cementing in 50 more years towards our imminent conventional nuclear doomsday well before we finish dying of hunger and thirst. Not bad for a couple of pieces of paper. Not one soul fighting back until my 600-page, 20-hour fat-mouth blast. Useless without your takeover. Understand? How come 1,000 pro-eggheads didn't figure out war and peace 100 years ago? Because every academic lives by researching a small sliver of human knowledge to new insight. Not one rambling over 14 billion years genesis of multi-millions of alien species developing to high technology, then running afoul of conventional plus nuclear explosives and CO2 spiking fossil fuels, all but a few refusing laws of decency and rescue. Historians do always study up to several centuries featuring the mega powerful and dangerous, but no myopic, grand power storyteller had quite the opposite motivating purpose. Why and how hot war dominated, and how could who stop it? This utterly amateur generalist got nowhere until I stumbled on two enormous clues. Archaeology tracked all human prehistory of tiny hunting clans for 2 million years, leaving no weapon-splintered human bones. Until the advent of farming created new agrarian, much bigger community armies for human attack and conquest. Suddenly twisting against humans, our strongest instincts, always ruling our animal hunting and meat hoarding and fear of alien, dangerous to people predators. Soon enslaving millions and stealing billions in money and valuables were urgently necessary to genetically over-aggressive dictators imagining terrible insecurity without mega genocide and theft. Today, violent criminals are half XYY. Likely 10 million techno-civilizations, so few lasting a mere century after initial strong radio signals, nearly all vanished hyper-fast because their universities also didn't study war besides their 100 war colleges developing killers, not savers. My next book will partner with new Convert War to Peace college pros. Then we'll nail this puppy. On a single day, more likely in the dead of night, desperate instinct to kill anything or anyone for food in an animal and plant deficient drought, man's first war to kill farmers for their food was then followed by the rapid advent of community populations, armies, government, money, and taxes. War is instinct plus technological and financial opportunities become new prey, including different races, flags, and beliefs to fear. Alien predators ready to come destroy us. Every power leader fashioned all law and also carte blanche law of the human jungle to forever roar the war machine over us all. Objectors quietly mused appeals for the absolutely powerful and corrupt to see God and stop. But they never made and enforced a single human right and law to overpower power, much less fired up us 99% enslaved to break free of our thieving, slaughtering overlords. Silent radio telescopes explained. But the few aliens who've definitely shot through our skies for decades obviously did fire their treasury-robbing, weapon-selling killers. So must we. Today, or there's no tomorrow. Who are we? You, multiplied everywhere. Why am I so sure that exponential weapons growth, explosive new power of brand new magnifying armies, invented money forcibly paid to leaders, riches gained from weapons sales, sharing profits with leaders in return for vast public business, and fast growing from new agriculture populations exposed to strange, scary new races, religions, and potential enemy nations, twisting original animal hunting and meat hoarding and human predator defense instincts to boom new technology and commerce and power opportunities for human abuse and murder. Because after 2 million years of matriarchal peace, despite the full supply of lethal weaponry, titanic permanent war only suddenly exploded precisely concurrently with the lethal new bunch of grossly uncivilized, utterly lawless opportunities I just listed. wielded by patriarch bosses, everyone. If my scant education and decently logical noodle can spot the damn smoke and gun war causes and effects, past, present, and future, unless we stop it cold, then you and your 100 times smarter experts are gonna nail wars, every cause and fix. By comparison, how surely did medical science move quickly towards cures after discovery of each disease's cause? Actually, with far more difficulty than you and I can latch onto simple, legal, blocking reversal of war's causes. Education to overcome ignorant hostility and gullibility to war propaganda. Outlawing business bribery of leaders for quid pro quo tax trillions, return of war powers from dictators to newly uncorrupted Congresses, and universal disarmament treaties, all to release the trillions needed for real rescue, not lying thieves' claims of protection, actually only foreign and domestic mass murder. Disease fighting requires fabulously complex drugs and surgery, all remarkably advanced in the absence of massive corrupt bribery to boom profitable to 1% bacteria deliberately multiplied to murder the rest of us. So let's work on those simple laws to not only save billions from conventional sparking nuclear holocaust, but then spring the dough to get new water supply to save us all again. Double trouble, single solution. I recruit 2. You guys convert 2 more. Just once within 30 days, and then we all get 8 billion helping out in only 33 months. Piece of cake. So what is our biological and divine strategy for defense of life built into just about everyone's thought and action DNA? Until finally overridden, doomed, and killed by our failing, out of control, regressed, not advanced, so-called civilization. What in heaven's and human's name must we do? Try practicing your smartest, most energetic, health-promoting, danger-dumping, public safety lawmaking and enforcing loving. 1 little half hour for every 100 you spend loving and protecting your family and workplace VIPs, just to keep your precious own alive and well. Wouldn't this only be Bill Murray's little program for glorious revolution? Happily ever after change. Everybody's well organized, build to the goal, work together, baby steps.